this mythology. Paul's a connoisseur. Sarah has an interest, but it's all Greek to her. From Cronus's kids' weird childhood to what's going down in Hades' hood. These fables are bizarre but good. It's myth understood.
Oh, well, that was a nice low note for you today, Sarah.
Mix it up.
You know, I'm really excited that we have a musical intro, and we happen to have two musicians. Musicians.
They do magical music.
Musicians sitting with us today. Musicians, comedians. We have Sam Johnides and we have Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey.
Thanks for putting us on the show.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I was actually thrilled to have you on the show as soon as I heard Tony talking about this musical that you guys either are working on or have finished, but you performed a preview of this just recently, right? Tell me more about this.
Yeah, on April 9th, Monday at the Rockwell Table and Stage. They did it.
That theater.
It's really cool. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
where Jeff Goldblum does his jazz trio, right?
Yes.
So they did a thing called Musical, which Foundation for New American Musicals picks like 4 or 5 new musicals, and they're like, cool, you get 20 minutes or whatever it is to put up some music. So we put together a set with a band of ours and some good singers, and it was a ton of fun. We had a good time.
It's awesome. Are you guys putting it up again?
We're not going to do another musical performance of it yet, as now we finally did our first closed table reading of it.
Cool. So you're workshopping it still.
Yeah. So now it's back in rewrite version 1, and after that, then we'll probably do another concert premiere of it, and then start doing the.
I feel like the specific we are missing from this is what this musical is about. Isn't it it's a modern retelling of Orpheus and Eurydice?
Oh yes.
What?
Yeah, it's
Very
called
modern.
it's called Happily Ever Under,
Uh-huh.
and yeah. So
You see what they did there?
Yeah, did you see what we did? We checked all the hashtags to make sure it wasn't already already a thing. No, so the Act 1, just to be very vague about it, sort of. Act 1 is most of what we all,
Is
or
he
the
gonna
people that
tell
know
them?
the Orpheus and Eurydice myth
Do
would
we want
know
to give the
about
myth away yet, though?
Oh, yeah. Well, we've done that episode already. We've already talked
Okay.
about Orpheus and Eurydice.
Yeah.
We all
Oof.
know about Eurydice's tragic fate and Orpheus's tragic fate. So feel free to spoiler alert it up.
Yeah, so basically Act 1 is up to Orpheus's look at Eurydice.
Uh-huh.
And then we're just Act 2 is us basically jazz riffing on the myth. We take a bunch of elements of Persephone mythology, elements of like Cerberus things, and we just kind of put everything in a big blender and have a ton of fun in Act 2. So Act 1 is the myth basically,
Uh-huh.
and then Act 2 is just us being ridiculous with it.
Reverse the myth almost.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we don't need to hold. They'll hear more about it, but yeah, Act
Yeah.
2 is we kind of flip it. So then Hades has to go up to Earth and now find Eurydice's soul, and so it's a big just flip it all on its head. La, 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 la.
Yeah.
We'll definitely promote it when it comes out because we might have one Los Angeles listener.
I think we have more than one Los Angeles listener, but it seems
More than one less than
I'm
3.
listening.
It is definitely surprising that the expanse in which our listeners are coming from is like we have listeners all the way in Australia, which is
We might
delightful.
promote this so hard
from the
that our
underworld.
fans all the way from Australia
come to Los Angeles.
come to Rockwell.
Yeah.
Happily ever down under.
Oh, clap.
Do you hear
Wow,
that,
he's
Australia?
good.
Yeah.
He's funny.
Now I asked this of all of our guests that come along, and it feels specifically relevant for you guys because you have created this musical. What's your background with Greek mythology? Was there a passion for it, or did it just sort of let's do this one day?
Yeah.
So go ahead, you can start.
Tony probably has a more passionate background with Greek mythology than I do. But no, I got a book like 5 or 6 years ago with Greek mythology. It's just this little book of all the tiny stories.
Was it a tiny book of tiny stories?
It was like a moderate-sized book of tiny
Wait,
stories.
you're-
Was
the
it
way
Edith,
you
what is
are,
Edith Hamilton's mythology?
you make it look like it's an inch big.
He found it in a dollhouse.
It's an inch and a half. But it has all these. To me, what I know is like very basic. Greek myths like Pyramus and Thisbe,
Huh.
Orpheus, Eurydice, and then a few others that I won't know how to pronounce. And I really liked it then, and I was always talking to Tony about it, and then he's can pick up with his.
For a long time I've wanted to do a take on Orpheus and Eurydice because
They have it coming.
music is inherent in the storytelling.
Uh-huh.
And then just Sam and I as writers always get really excited about things that feel more epic and world buildy. So we're like, great, we have an epic journey here. We've got a descent into the underworld. We've got a world to build and interpret, the underworld. And I think I just felt like all those elements really played into the kind of storytelling we like to do. Plus music, like we were saying, Orpheus was a musician, felt very inherent to tell that story with music. So that's why I, for a while, had that on the back burner. And then once Sam and I started discussing what's the next project, we were like, great, let's tackle it. This sounds fun.
Tackle it. Hut.
Well, for those of you who have been listening on, you know that we are setting up the Trojan War right now. We are going to continue talking about the Trojan War, but before we jump into that, we're going to hear a little piece from this musical enjoyment that you guys have brought for us today. So, what are we about to listen to?
We're giggling because we're being teenage boys right now. So this song is called Mortalization.
Oh wait, are you laughing about like Trojan War?
No. You'll see.
The song is just the take on this is very, very wonky, but like adult humor.
We don't know what that is.
Good.
We still just do armpit
show.
fart jokes.
Armpit farts and
Yeah.
bodies.
So in Mortalization, this is not part of the Orpheus and Eurydice myth. After Orpheus looks at Eurydice, we have invented this thing that happens with her soul where it gets separated from her body. The gods pull Hades up to a trial on Mount Olympus, and the Pantheon says, well, you present your case. Why should we not take away your godhood? You failed your godly duty, which is to keep the dead people in the underworld. And he loses the case. So the gods do a ritual called mortalization, where they take away a god's godhood, and this is what happens to Hades.
Oh, he's about to get snip.
All the gods.
Yeah, actually, snip is you'll see.
Oh yeah.
A god has been demoted from high to low. He didn't learn his lesson, so mortalization. God forgot his duty, and the day has come. Nothing to protect him from mortalization.
Nothing can save him from this punishment. Nothing is quite akin to banishment, as is this irreversible judgment. It is time to resign from your deific design. Mortalization, mortalization. Our catastrophic wrath has been provoked. Your consolation, your vindication, your immortality has been revoked.
what happens when the god of death allows the dead to escape from their deathbed? Mortalization. What happens when the secrets of the underworld are carelessly to topside hurled? Mortalization.
No one can save you from this consequence. No one forgives your lapse of common sense. What an example of incompetence. Works of pest, you're dismissed from the reason you exist. Mortalization, mortalization. Our catastrophic wrath has been provoked. Your cancellation, your decastration, your immortality has been revoked.
La 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 la. Love makes gods do stupid things.
Mortalization.
Incredibly stupid, horribly incompetent.
Wah, sad story, let the ritual begin. Abu Chabu Kamika,
Nobu Bodu Gurikra,
Ixi Mixi Jammies Hens,
Proxy Pova Sepharins,
Iggy Doda,
Battles Rotom,
Frido Pen,
Mushroom Head,
Xenozate,
Ejaculate,
Why my Yama,
Masturbate.
Mortalization, mortalization, our catastrophic wrath has been provoked. Your cancellation, your decastration, your immortality
Damn.
I heard that mushroom head in there.
Oh yeah.
Just the
Oh,
whole
I heard
spell is-
ejaculation.
Good. There you
and
go.
scrotum. There we go. Yeah, it was all. It was
Said
all
all
in there.
my favorite words.
Yeah.
That's
What
awesome,
other kind of
guys.
spell is
Voss
there?
deferens was in there.
Mhm.
Good. Very good.
Thank
It's really fucking good.
Yeah. Exciting.
So,
And that's
spell is
you guys
dumb.
workshopping. Jesus, don't look in my notebooks at the things I'm working on.
I mean, well, everyone just saw your drawing of Samantha as a seal, which
That's
was
post workshop. That's that's
in,
framed.
that's final. Well, that's excellent. We're gonna dive right in though, because we're gonna hit this Achilles and pre-Trojan War history, and I'm really excited to do some improvising with you guys as well as we continue
We're
on.
excited
Awesome.
too.
Yeah. So where we last left, the sort of precursor to the Trojan War,
There's a hot bitch.
there's a hot bitch. Yeah, we were talking about the judgment of Paris. The judgment of Paris.
He's the hot bitch.
He's the hot bitch. He determined who was the rightful owner of the golden apple, of who is the most beautiful. There was a contest between three goddesses. It was Aphrodite, Athena, and Hera. And Paris decided to give the golden apple to Aphrodite because Aphrodite promised him the most beautiful woman in the world. And-
Thus proving he's not a fair judge. He's who can bribe him the best.
Yeah, who can bribe him the best. And so that's where we sort of left off, that Paris is now promised the hand of Helen, and Helen is already spoken for. So that's what's happening in Troy. We're going to go.
Paris is Orlando Bloom, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
We
Okay. What? Mark?
Now and
Eric
then.
Bana is who? Who's? Is this?
I actually
anything
don't know
related?
who Eric Bana is. I don't think I've actually
Okay.
seen that movie.
Okay.
I should
I've
see
seen
that
parts
movie.
of it. Nah,
Yeah.
it's fine.
All I know is Brad Pitt is Achilles.
Oh, someone
Right.
asked us how
Yeah.
we felt about the Netflix thing, the new Netflix show, Troy.
Oh, Troy.
Just
Oh.
came out. I haven't.
Oh,
seen it
I haven't
yet.
watched it yet
So
either.
that's our answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So we're going over to Greece, and we're going to cover the birth of Achilles. Achilles was the son of the Nereid Thetis and Peleus, who was the two that had the wedding.
Mermaid Bride.
Yeah, in our last episode.
hmm
Thetis being a Nereid and Peleus being just a mortal man.
He just like snuck up
Nereid?
on her. It's like a,
What
like,
is a Nereid?
A
Like a
Nereid
mermaid,
is a water nymph.
Okay.
Oh.
And you might be wondering, like, and you did wonder this last time, why was the wedding so grand? And
it was a spectacle.
yeah. And
They
part
shut
of
down Hollywood Boulevard for it.
part of this was due to the popularity of Thetis, and Thetis was actually sought after by both Zeus and Poseidon. However,
That doesn't say much. That's every woman ever.
that's every woman ever. But Zeus was Zeus and Poseidon were fighting over Thetis, and Sam and Toady are deciding who is who right now, and I actually don't know which means what.
Zeus.
Okay, and they are approached by Prometheus, god of foresight. It is I, Prometheus, god of foresight. What, you two are fighting over Thetis, are you?
Yes, we are.
She's lovely, and I'd rather take her for myself. The ocean gets lonely.
Oh, I didn't know Poseidon had a country accent, but I think you both should know, though, that the child that you would bear with Thetis would be greater than their own father.
Well, I think that's a little impossible because I'm the greatest god there ever was.
Well, that's every father's dream for his son to be greater than he is,
Well,
as they say in the coral reef.
Deep down south of the mountain.
well, okay. Well, this actually does deter both gods because neither of them want to have a son that is greater than them.
Right on.
So, so
Egomaniacs.
for this reason, the two gods withdraw their pursuit and allow her to wed Peleus.
Oh, how nice of them.
Yeah, there's an additional piece that that alludes to not only that, but that Thetis was also incredibly loyal to Hera, and thus, when Zeus and Poseidon were pursuing Thetis,
Put my girls first. I put my girls first.
exactly,
Crew, then you. In
That
that order.
that was she actually had a pink satin jacket that had that embroidered on the back.
Crew. Then you.
Yeah,
It
so
said pink on the butt. It said pink across the butt
Ain't-
cheeks.
Ain't
That's
gonna be
what I've been wearing.
That's what he's wearing right now.
So in this version of the myth, when Zeus finds out about this, he decrees that, well, fine, you can only marry a mortal. Like,
The pussy is unfuckable. I stuck a flagpole in it.
yes. So Thetis and Peleus have their child together, and the child is Achilles. And when he is born, he is mortal. And Thetis wanted so much to have an immortal child.
Oh, I wish I could have an immortal child like that.
Yeah, that's her. And so there's two ways that this myth goes. The second way is my favorite, and it's actually the first way I heard it. But the way that is more commonly
The one
known,
where he's dipped in chocolate.
At the chocolate factory.
the way that is more commonly known is that she takes Achilles to the river Styx, and
She fondues him. like
and
I
she
said.
fondues him. Yeah, she holds him by his ankle
Uh-huh.
and dips him into the river Styx in order to wash away his mortality, leaving only his immortal side behind.
Get that nasty shit off.
my-
of him.
However,
That.
that she holds him by her ankle, and
Why can't she dip her whole hand in it? She's already immortal.
because she holds him by his ankle, that piece, that skin on skin contact creates a perfect like Tupperware seal,
Right.
and he does
Ooh.
not he doesn't lose his immortality there on his ankle. So that is the more common version of the myth.
Mhm.
Now I'm going to
Okay.
tell you the version that I heard as a kid. So first, it's
what
like
did Bob Bianchi do this time?
my dad didn't do it. It was actually in that book, Delars's Book of Greek Myths.
Okay.
That first, it's like a step-by-step process. It's like a DIY, like tasty video that shows up in your timeline. First, she wrapped him
Mhm.
in sweet ambrosia, and then she put some on a spit.
What the?
Roast him on a
And
spit.
then she proceeds to burn away the immortality on him by sort of roasting him over this fire.
I've gone to
Ooh.
dermatologists like this.
Yeah.
My parents tried that too.
And in this method, Peleus walks in on her doing this and is like, what are you doing to our son?
Oh, I'm just cooking the shit off the baby.
And so he pulls Achilles away from the fire by his ankle, and that is the part that, like, the last bit of him that was left to burn. So again, he's left with this ankle that is regular mortal ankle, but the rest
It's not
of
crispy chicken like
It's
the rest of him.
exactly.
What's the psychology book of like all the diagnoses? Is it the DSM or the?
What are you talking about?
It's the book that like therapists use
Is
to
it,
diagnose.
is it another little tiny book that you have?
No, this is a real fatty. I don't have
This
it.
one's
Thank
3
God. This would be
inches
dangerous.
large.
I'm just curious, like what all the how you would diagnose half of these Greek gods and goddesses.
A
like,
lot
their
of the
mental
problems start with the these stories, right? Like we pull narcissism out of narcissists.
Yep.
Oh well,
Right.
oh, it's smart. They're just crazy.
Is ambrosia like that dish that people bring to picnics, or is it like a
It's ambrosia
It-
salad.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
like macaroni and cheese.
it's exactly that dish. No, yeah.
She blankets him in fruit salad and roasts him. It's kind of like a Hawaiian special.
Ambrosia is classically what the Olympian gods ate. It was the food of the gods, and I think it's that. So that's the root word for the salad. That someone invented ambrosia salad and was like, "This is so good, it's the food of the gods." That's exactly what
Right.
happened.
got it?
Say same thing about ramen,
Mhm.
and chicken
Oh.
nuggets.
Mhm.
Wrap
Oh.
myself in
I would eat both of those right now. That's the fruit of the Sarah.
fruit of the Sam's. Yeah.
Hey.
Now you might wonder as Achilles is growing up, does he have a best friend? And
Fuck no.
you bet your ass he's got a best
Ah,
friend.
Shit.
His name is Patroclus. And Patroclus was the son of Odysseus. And he had, there were many different women in different myths are mentioned as being his mother. But guess what? It doesn't fucking matter because none of them have any bearing on the story. So I was like, I'm going to list all of their names. And I'm like, no, I don't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't
I wanna
matter.
Get some tweets about this, Paul.
Patroclus.
Patroclus. Yeah.
Petroleum.
When Patroclus was young, before he was friends with Achilles, he already had a best friend,
No.
and and his name was Clysonomus.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Gotta go.
Imaginary
classic
Gotta go.
classodamus.
That's the name of my imaginary
And one
friend.
day, Patroclus was playing dice
Oh God, he fucking killed this youth
with his best friend Clysonomus.
Playing dice.
Yeah. Hey, Clysonomus, want to play dice?
Yeah, I like squares.
Yeah. Well, they're cubes, but okay.
You know what I mean?
And then they erupted into a serious argument about whether that were squares or cubes.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
dumb.
no.
It's just a 3D square.
Oh yeah, this spear says otherwise, and he murders.
Knew it.
Your
Yes.
name's Patroclus. What do you know?
So yeah, Patroclus accidentally kills Clysonomus.
Patroclus, your mom says don't play with spears, but she doesn't matter.
She doesn't. Yeah. So Patroclus accidentally kills Clysonomus with a unnamed weapon, but let's just say it was a spear. After fighting over a game of dice. That's really just what happens.
How do you fight? It's so fine. It's like, yeah, that's a 6. What are you fighting over?
I think that Sam and I came up with something pretty good about fighting whether or not they're called squares or cubes.
Is it 3D squares or are they called cubes?
Yeah.
One is simple, but one's more interesting.
You did pull an actual knife out and look at him when you were doing that.
I did. Yeah, I was like, this is my podcast.
He said, that's my Ambroge's house.
So his father takes Patroclus, and they both flee to another kingdom, where Patroclus meets Achilles, and guess what? They form a deep friendship right away.
Yeah, well, I bet he left out one big detail about what happened to his last best friend.
Hey, I'm Patroclus. What's your name?
My name is Achilles.
Want to be best friends?
You promise not to put me on a spit and burn off my skin?
Only if you don't talk to me about shapes.
Yeah, let's go hunt for some ladies.
Yeah, we're 10. So they already were
They
married.
start
and had-
early. Yeah, of course.
Sensitive about geometry,
but
obviously.
Peleus sends both of them to be tutored by our beloved centaur Chiron, who
Oh.
is the tutor of all Greek heroes.
Mhm.
So now we're gonna I keep having to talk about Game of Thrones here because this the Trojan War is sort of like that in its setup. It's like if that was like we met Achilles, now we met Patroclus, now we're gonna talk about Helen. And we already talked about the birth of Helen. Do you remember the birth of Helen, Sarah?
Never.
Never. Do you remember Zeus turning into a swan?
Usually.
Yes. So Zeus fell in love with Leda, who was the wife of a Spartan king, and he tried to have sex with her in the form of a swan, and she graciously accepted. She said, "Okay, I'm into that swan. He's a handsome swan."
That's a good-looking swan.
Yeah. So the two of them mated, and Leda was, it's never said she was surprised, but I feel like she would be surprised to one day lay 2 large eggs.
That's what you would think.
And from the first egg came Castor and Pollux, future Greek heroes. We talked a little bit about how Pollux was a great boxer and punched that guy's head off.
Great painter as well.
Pollux.
And Jackson and Pollux. And the other egg bore Helen and Clytemnestra. And Helen, destined to be the most beautiful woman in the world.
Good. She's set. No other skills needed.
And her twin sister, slightly less attractive Clytemnestra.
You can tell from the name.
Beautiful Helen and Clytemnestra. It's a family name.
So then is Helen a god?
Helen is not a god. No, they're all mortals, but they were born by eggs.
But I feel like that Zeus sperm gets you pretty gaudy.
It doesn't sometimes. Yeah,
Oh.
it's sort of irregular. You know, if Leda was as wise as Thetis, she probably could have roasted her kids on a spit and
Yeah.
made them immortal. But Leda's just
I guess
immortal.
you're
She doesn't know.
careful. You're careful with fire if your kids come out of an egg. You don't want.
Yeah, you don't want to scramble them. Mhm. But
That's exactly the right noise.
so you might be interested in what happens to Helen in her youth before all of this craziness happens.
I experienced what happened to Helen in her youth.
That's really scary. What do you mean?
Huh?
Would-
Puberty.
Oh, well, yeah. That well, so before puberty, do you remember Theseus?
Mm-hmm.
Theseus, one of the great heroes of Greece.
Yes.
Theseus and Pirithous, his friend, thought that since they were both the sons of gods, that they should have divine wives. And so they pledged to help each other abduct 2 daughters of Zeus. Thus, Theseus chose Helen, and Pirithous vowed to marry Persephone, wife of Hades.
Oh.
So these
good
are
luck.
yeah, right? And
Pre her being married to Hades or no?
after she was already married to Hades.
Wow. He set out a goal.
Yeah. So Theseus and Pirithous come all the way down to Sparta and abduct Helen. And she is like 7 to 10 years old right now. And he's just like,
She's middle aged.
yeah, and he takes her all the way back to Athens and leaves her with his mother Aethra. And then Pirithous is like, all right, yeah, now time to get my wife, Persephone, goddess of the underworld in spring. She will be my wife. So they find their way down to the underworld. And when they get there, they show up, and Hades is there to
How
greet
old are they at this point? Are they also like 10?
the gods.
Theseus
and
Pirithous, they're grown men.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they show up there, and when
Because
they,
it's a cute story if it's like 2 kids in a trench coat, but it's not great. It's not great. It's 2 adult men.
there are 2 adult men in 1 trench coat.
Okay, that's still cute.
Yeah. They show up, and when they arrive, Hades is like, "Oh, hello, gentlemen. Welcome to the underworld. I'm here to greet you benevolently."
Oh, I'm here for a special treat.
Well, we loved the river Styx. It was quite bony, but we've come with something specific in mind. Should we tell him?
Well, have you come to kidnap my wife Persephone?
What?
What?
You're crazy. Why would anyone do that
Kidnap,
to her?
more like ask for her.
No, Persephone.
What?
Wink with me here.
Ugh.
All right, we're gonna have such a wonderful time. But right before you kidnap my beautiful bride, come down and have an excellent feast with me.
Oh, this sounds
Ooh.
like a great
I've
segue.
always liked eating. I've always wanted to eat in exotic places. Yes, thank you.
So Hades feigns being a very hospitable host to them, and as soon as they sit down in their chairs to eat and consume their meal, the like iron chairs that they're sitting on, the legs sort of like branch off and become like snakes and
of
like
course.
and wrap all the way around the ankles of them. And he's just all of a sudden like, "Got you, suckers! Did you think you were gonna kidnap my wife?" That accent I was using was fake too.
You can't get that.
Whatever.
Isn't that like, it's only fair though? Isn't that what he did? Just,
Huh?
Didn't he kidnap her like a?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
he kidnapped her in the first
But
place.
only
I've
But
he
been
can?
kidnapped a lot. And honestly, it's old at this point.
I'll just come with you. I don't.
You know what would be scarier? Being asked out on a date.
so while this is happening, while they are held there, Castor and Pollux go back to Athens, and
we're in another. Okay.
and they steal Helen back while they're trapped in the underworld, and they also
Oh.
kidnap Theseus's mom Aethra as revenge. And so by the time that Theseus and Pirithous return from the underworld empty-handed, because they were thwarted by a god, they're like, "Oh, also my future wife and my mom are gone. Oh well, sometimes you lose. Sometimes you lose."
Yeah.
So they both got out of the underworld unscathed?
Actually, it's Theseus gets rescued later by Hercules during one of his tasks.
Oh.
Pirithous dies. So I recant what I just said. Both of them returning from the underworld. No,
Oh.
just Theseus, because who cares about Pirithous?
Right.
Mm-mm.
No one
She's not
does.
even my peripheral.
Vision.
That's good. That's decent.
Castor and Pollux are Helen's siblings, right?
If you count
Well,
being
egg.
born separately from another
separate
egg,
eggs.
yeah,
They're egglings.
they're
You're a separate egg from your sister.
yeah, I am. I've always thought so.
Ah,
So when it actually became time for Helen to marry, many kings and princes from around the world came to seek her hand.
5 years later, at 11.
Yes. And bringing rich gifts with them and sending emissaries to do so on their behalf. And during the contest, Castor and Pollux played a prominent role in dealing with her suitors. Imagine also Clytemnestra just like sitting there, like arms folded in the corner as her sister is being attacked by all these suitors.
I just wish one of them would look at me.
Well, and ultimately one does, because the brothers Menelaus and Agamemnon, who are part of the
I know. The names are insane.
they're part of the cursed house of Atreus. They come fleeing from yet another calamity, and Agamemnon sees what's happening with this whole suitor business.
Just a line of men ejaculating in their pants.
Yeah, and sees Clytemnestra sitting there, and is just like taps her on the shoulder.
I'll ejaculate in my pants for you.
Oh, no one has ever spoken so kindly to me. Yeah, and so Agamemnon, choosing not to play a part in this circus
Circle jerk.
circus circle jerk for the hand of Helen, ends up with Clytemnestra instead, and so their union is created. But in the meantime, all of these men still want the hand of Helen, and Helen's father, Tyndareus, is afraid to select a husband for his daughter. Never mind what she thinks about any of them. But he's afraid because so many of them are large, burly warrior men that he's like, if I choose one of them might kill me, or they'll fight with each other and break my precious vase collection. I will. That'll be terrible. And among these suitors was Odysseus, which is a name that maybe is familiar with you all as the star of the Odyssey. And he brought 0 gifts because he gave very little care. It was sort of like, okay, yeah, if I end up with Helen, that's cool too. But I sort of have my eyes on Penelope, who's the daughter of Achilles. And so Odysseus comes up to Tyndareus, the father, and he says, father of Helen?
Yes.
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 You're
Yes.
wow.
Yes, Odysseus. What
Yes.
can I do for you?
Well, I'm here's the thing. I really like this woman, Penelope.
What? You don't want Helen? Everybody wants Helen.
I know
Everyone's
everyone
after
wants
her.
Helen, but it seems like you have a big problem on your hands. I can solve this problem for you if you can help hook me up with Penelope, daughter of Achilles.
Ooh. Well, I might be able to make that happen then.
Oh yeah, you're a very powerful man.
Thank you for saying so.
Yes,
I've always thought so.
well, yeah. No one thinks lowly of you because your daughter is actually the daughter of Zeus and not actually your daughter.
I've been cuckolded by a god. It's one of the highest honors.
So Odysseus proposes that before the decision is made, that all the suitors must swear a solemn oath to defend the chosen husband against whoever should quarrel with him. And among this mass of suitors were also Patroclus and Achilles at the time. And so they also take this oath, and this is called the Oath of Tyndareus after Helen's father. And all of these men agree, whoever gets chosen, we will fight for you. We will honor you because you have the hottest babe in the land.
Mm-hmm. The pussy pledge.
The pussy pledge. After the suitors had sworn not to retaliate, quiet Menelaus, who's not even there, who sent his brother Agamemnon to be there for him, is the one who's chosen to be Helen's husband.
Ooh.
And as a sign of importance of the pact, Tyndareus goes out into the stables, picks his finest horse, and just like slits its throat. Like he's just like, we are going to sacrifice.
What a day to celebrate!
Yeah, he sacrifices a horse, which is like a big deal in in ancient Greek times because horses were useful. And so like sacrificing one is like, this is the importance of this oath. This horse is dead. So after that happens, Helen and Menelaus become rulers of Sparta after Tyndareus and Lena abdicate just because they're getting old and they want to go.
I want to go to Florida.
Yeah. They move to Florida instead.
If you don't make it up to Olympus, you move to Florida.
Menelaus and Helen rule in Sparta for 10 years, and they have a daughter, Hermione.
When God
Yeah. Like true muggles, they have Hermione.
See, Hermione gets a lot of shit because she might be a muggle, but she's also, got a granddaughter of Zeus.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody knew this whole
So after this 10 years of rulership, that's when Paris, a Trojan prince, comes to Sparta to claim Helen in guise of supposed diplomatic mission. And there are many ways that this is told as going down. One of them is Paris shows up. Aphrodite's like sort of there, like invisibly behind him, and is like, Eros, shoot Helen with an arrow. And so as soon as Paris shows up, she's shot with an arrow. She falls madly in love with him. He's like, want to come with me to Troy? And she's like,
yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Life has been full of choices for me.
And he just takes her off to Troy without any hardship. There's another version, of course, where he just shows up like with an erection and just like rapes her and takes her just like forcibly. There's another version where he comes bearing a whole bunch of gifts that Aphrodite gave to him to give to her. Where she's just like,
she always wanted a Tamagotchi.
And she wins him through that way. But most interestingly is the poet Sappho, who had more of an interest in women's issues, writes that Helen didn't have a life full of choices. Her father made this decision, chose Menelaus.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment that a man comes into the place and he's like, hi, I'm Paris. What do you want to do? That she's like, oh, I want to go with you, the man who's offering me a choice.
Yeah, what do you mean? What do I want?
Yeah, exactly. So in any regard of what happens, Helen is taken by Paris and leaves with little regard for what is going to happen to her kingdom and little regard for Hermione as well.
We just want a good listener.
Yeah.
And a Tamagotchi.
And you don't need your daughter Hermione. She's
gonna get her own franchise. She'll be fine.
She's fine. When Helen is abducted, Menelaus calls upon the other suitors in order to honor their oaths to help him retrieve her. And this attempt leads to the Trojan War. The first person he goes to, because he was so helpful during the courting of Helen, is Odysseus. And Odysseus at this time had already married Penelope. He had a young son named Telemachus. Good name, family name. And when
Telemachus what?
What? Telemachus.
Telemachus Aurelius.
Telemachus what?
Telemachus, Odysseus' son. And when he shows up, Menelaus is like, Odysseus.
Yo.
Whoa.
Oh, split my voice.
He's like, someone stole my wife. We're going to go to war with Troy. I need you, bro. You're going to do this for me, right?
Oh, that's right. Bro, oaths before hoes.
However, Odysseus had gone to an oracle, and the oracle had foretold that if he goes to war in Troy, that his journey back will be incredibly long. And dreading that, instead of honoring his pledge, he pretends to be insane. So
ooh, yeah, let's go kill him. Let's go kill them all.
The way that he shows that he's insane is that he hooks both a donkey and an ox to his plow at the same time. And they're like sort of like mismatchedly like not plowing in a straight line. And then he proceeds to just like sow salt into his fields so that nothing will grow, and is just like la 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 la, like driving this like crazy contraption.
Dressed as Miss Doubtfire.
I'm an ox. I hate going with horses. I hate them.
And
What?
so while this is happening, Palamedes goes inside, says, "Oh, hello, Penelope. How are you doing?"
Oh, I'm great. Thanks. How are you?
Penelope, do you mind if I borrow your baby?
I would have to ask what for.
Well, I'm
you're
not going to let you know.
You're
Palamedes just takes the baby, walks outside, and sets the baby down in front of the plow, causing Odysseus to veer off course, not wanting to kill his own son, and thus revealing his ruse. I am not actually insane, because clearly an insane person would just plow right over that baby, keep going. That's sort of makes sense. Sort of, not all. It's
baby.
It's definitely not rock solid. After this,
I'll leave, but when I come back, there'll be a field of salt.
Odysseus
They will come.
Odysseus will now hold a grudge for against Palamedes for the entire rest of this
Why?
story. Then Menelaus tells Odysseus, I need you to recruit Achilles for this war. It has been foretold that we will lose the war unless Achilles is a part of it. However, it had also been foretold there's a lot of foretelling was happening by to Thetis, by an oracle, that her son Achilles will die in the Trojan War. And so in order to prevent this, she sent Achilles to the palace of Skyros. And she sent him disguised as a woman named Pyrrha. And Pyrrha
Another Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
In two in one story.
Well, the first one you invented. But if are any of you fans of the game series Soul Calibur?
So yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
we
yeah.
are terrible at it, and it's fun.
Yeah, button mashing.
I wanted you to these names might have stuck out to you because I mentioned Patroclus, and now I'm mentioning Pyrrha. And Patroclus being Achilles' best friend, and Pyrrha now being an alter ego for Achilles. Pyrrha and Patroclus are the children of Sophitia in Soul Calibur, the series, and that's
more than I
definitely
know.
where they pull those names from.
Who's the one who's got who can change their hands into like circular blades? He's crazy as shit. Crawls around.
The bondage guy, Valdo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Valdo.
Mhm.
That's
He's not related to Greek mythology, as far as I know.
Asheroth, right? Is that another one?
Yeah.
Okay. We're getting there.
So
They're in this story. You'll hear it.
So when Achilles is living there in Skyros, he is attracted.
Toodaloo!
he's attracted to the king's most fair daughter, Didamia.
Dad, damn it, you're good looking.
Yeah. So as he's hanging out with Didamia, they actually become very good friends. They have one of those it's like classic 90s movie
Mean Girls
situation. Yeah.
A little
I'm
bit
really
of
in
Yentl.
love with her, but how do I not reveal my gender and still stay friends with her?
One night at a party, it becomes increasingly difficult for him to hide his romantic and sexual interest in her.
That's a
or
boner.
his boner.
Yeah. I mean, they're wearing loose-fitting
Yeah.
togas, and
Cod pieces.
Didamia is very confused by what's happening with her lady friend. Oh, one of the things too to disguise the fact that Achilles is a specimen of a man, and Thetis introduces Pyrrha to the court as, this is my daughter that was actually raised with the Amazons. That's why she's so giant and muscular, and everyone buys it because she's a Nereid. Like, okay, goddess lady, this is your Amazon daughter. That's fine. That makes sense to us. So no one suspected Achilles because of that. But now, certainly with a boner poking through the toga, Didamia knows that something's up, but she still is so confused because she was raised he was there hidden for a couple of years, and so she's gotten really used to her being this woman that's her best friend.
Yeah.
And so they proceed to start to fool
I've watched her put a tampon.
They proceed to fool around in a way that is I sometimes depicted as rape, but I think because of what follows, not so much rape as just confusing for Didamia to go through. That it's like, I'm being intimate with this woman that has male genitalia. What's going on? But ultimately, she ends up falling in love with her and conceiving a child.
Still thinking it's a woman?
While realizing that Pyrrha is actually Achilles.
While he's inside of her, or a little bit before, hopefully?
Probably a little bit before.
All right.
And so Didamia doesn't want Achilles to suffer punishment from her father, and resolves to keep the incident, his identity, as well as the fact that she is now going to conceive a child, secret from her father. However, all of this plan gets sort of thrown out the window because Odysseus arrives looking for Achilles, knows that he's been hiding here. And
who told him?
Someone, I don't know.
Oracle.
That's part of the story that I don't know. This is all detailed by the fact in a poem called the Achilleid, not to be confused with the Iliad. But
Is that their celebrity baby name?
Iliad is not a human. Iliad is just a story, but I guess it would be the celebrity baby of Achilles and a work of art together. But the way that Odysseus discovers which of these women is Achilles, aside from just probably looking at him, it's like, which one is the Amazon?
Did he get on like a cart? He just got on a cart, like back up and just slid under all the dresses.
Yeah, it's like that scene,
1980s.
It's like that scene in Speed where he like Keanu Reeves gets down on the thing and rides out onto the road.
Bus.
Yeah. But no, he actually comes disguised as a merchant because he knows that Achilles will recognize him. So a thick mustache.
Overnight pads.
Yeah.
Overnight pads. $3.
And as the merchant, he has a cart full of like what can only be described as girly adornments.
Okay, so I'm not off. He's like, who wants them? And Achilles is like, nah.
Yeah, and he also has a cart full of spears. And
oh god!
So
This
in
is-
the most,
This is borderline the most sexist tale you've told.
yeah,
yet.
it's definitely up there. And so
I want lipstick.
Achilles
to protect myself.
Achilles outs himself by picking up the spear, and he's like, "Aha! No woman would pick up a spear," and that's how he knows that it's Achilles, and he pulls him out by his ear. But the other version of this myth is that Odysseus arrives blaring a war horn inside the part of the temple where only the women are.
Achilles just does.
And Achilles is there like dukes up like, I'm gonna defend this temple, and no woman, all the other women run
They
away.
all fainted.
Yeah, they all faint because they're delicate
fainted,
flowers. Yeah. So that's the way that the Achilleid ends, is that Achilles swears to one day return to Didamia, but the readers already know, because the Iliad was released before the Achilleid, is that Achilles is likely not going to return from Troy. So, but that's the way that
He had such a beautiful life as a woman.
Did he have a beautiful life?
Yeah, he had friendship and love.
He
Secret
did.
babies.
Secret babies.
Secret
Just a
baby.
constant tent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Painful boners.
Yeah. It's a whole what is it? I forgot. It's a
He was
whole
the belle of the blue balls.
it's a whole Tootsie thing going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically where I'm going to leave us today, is that with Achilles assembled and Odysseus together, basically all the men are gearing up and ready to go.
Boys are back in town.
The boys are back in town. They're going to gear up, and they're going to take a ship, and they're going to travel towards Troy to just try to destroy Troy in an effort to get the most beautiful woman in Greece back.
Destroy Troy.
Oh, yeah.
Destroy Troy.
Ooh, we're inspiring them
Yeah.
for the third act.
Destroy Troy.
That's good.
That is pretty good.
That's good.
Coming this fall to Lifetime.
Stop, Pyrrha.
I love hanging out with you, Didamia. Oh,
Well, now that you've seen my boobs, show me that yours are bigger. You said so.
she thought that she was making friends with the coolest, most muscular girl at the temple.
Pierre, there's got to be something else to do than just practice kissing all day. We have homework.
Oh God. But it turned out that Pyrrha wasn't everything that she seemed to be. She was the studliest guy in all of Greece.
Oh, Pyrrha, my dear, that's the big boner you've got.
This trailer gives away everything in the story.
I'll keep this baby secret. Don't go die. Bye.
I'm Odysseus. If I put on this mustache, I can make Achilles reveal himself if I sell feminine products.
Lifetime television for
Idiots.
Don't.
well. Thank you guys for being on this episode of Myth Understood.
Thank you for sharing your beautiful music.
Yeah,
with
thank
us.
you for sharing your beautiful
Thanks for
music.
having us.
You guys.
It's a lot to comprehend. It's very hard to pay attention to all these names.
It is.
Yeah.
Must admit.
Oh, I know. I don't.
I was afraid to get called on because I was like, I don't know who's mom and dad and brother and sister anymore. Not afraid,
All right,
but-
plug your social media, you fools.
Right. So we are on Instagram at The Sam and Tony Show. On Facebook, we're facebook.com/The Sam and Tony Show.
Or
And,
www.thesamandtonyshow.com.
there you go.
Is that the best way to follow along and see what becomes of the show as well?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we post regular little video updates. We might do like snippets of songs. We might do like artwork that we get.
I could do
Yeah,
artwork
for
for
the
you, as everyone saw this week on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah, she's
Ah.
a tremendous artist. Someone told you to quit your day job too to do it.
They just said
Did they
quit
say
both jobs.
Quit, yeah.
They said quit your day job.
quit all jobs, quit breathing.
Just quit. Just quit. Yeah, whatever your preferred method of social media is. Kinda
Slide
keep
into
up
the
with it.
DMs.
We blanket them
Yeah.
all. Yeah.
If you want to follow Myth Understood, we are at _Myth Understood on Twitter and Instagram.
And personally, we are at the Paul Bianchi and at the Sarah Oliver.
Wow, she knows mine. You can rate and review us on iTunes or wherever you listen, and please share with a friend and murder your enemies over a game of dice if you would like.
And follow our Papa station at It's Dragon Wagon and show support at dragonwagonradio.com/donate.
So yeah, usually we just say like goodbye, but I think what we're probably going to do this time is play another song, and so you can listen to more of this fantastic musical in process. What song are we going to listen to?
So you were talking about this
Oh.
dinner that Hades set this like little dinner party thing that
Mhm.
Hades set up for. The names are evading me.
Well, when the
Theseus
two
for
dudes-
Theseus and
Protheus.
Peritheus. So in our show, when Orpheus gets down to Hades to collect Eurydice from him, Hades, in our version, Hades has also set up a sort of dinner to be like, hey, come sit, let's all sit and have a chat. In this in this song, it's called Reunion After Death or The Dinner. Hades reveals that he and Eurydice had a thing before to kind of rile up Orpheus. At the same time, he's trying to get Orpheus and Eurydice to eat underworld food, as he did to Persephone, to get them stuck there. And then Persephone has a surprise entrance because she's not going to let that shit happen.
Ah, that's very
So
good.
this is called The Dinner.
All right. So please enjoy this song, and we'll see you next in 2 weeks from now.
So you're going to say see you next Tuesday?
See you next Tuesday.
We had a thing, your wife and me.
had a thing?
It was a short-lived but a very steamy summer. You didn't know,
Obviously no.
Didn't think so.
Oh, here we go.
And you came all this way to hear that. What a bummer.
You had a thing.
It was just
Oh,
once.
really
For
once?
several months.
And yet you didn't think this might be good to tell me.
It didn't last.
Oh, you're not so
This is
bad.
still a thing.
It's in the
That
past.
might be true, but I'm not buying what you're selling.
No need for an awkward dinner. Let's all a breath. There's nothing I love more than a reunion after death. And it seems my little outburst has put everyone on edge. Let's drink to what's apparently your honeymoon instead. Arriba, abajo, al centro, adentro.
There's just one thing.
Oh, here we go.
One nine thing.
Try the Merlot.
Though we've been dating for 2 years, you never mentioned another guy.
Please don't cry.
For God's sake, why?
Try this one.
With all the secrecy, then what was your intention?
Just look at the way you're acting now, and you should see the reason that I never brought him up was jealousy. You act as if my history with him some felony. One small truth destroys your trust, then why'd you marry me?
Take a giant step back and maybe you could see. Yes, a relationship with a god, it's a little hard to compete. You say yourself I'm incapable, incompetent, and thick. This nails my coffin shut, coming in to find you with this dick.
Arriba, abajo, al centro.
No, this is a joke.
Oh, try this pie.
I'd rather choke.
I'd rather
Now
die.
you're both being rather rude when I'm providing a fancy feast.
What are we, cats?
You both should eat.
No more like rats.
There is more you'd like to say. I
There's
wish
so
you'd do
much
it
I'd like to
right
say,
away.
but I
Get
can't
on
stand
with this,
it.
for God's
Way
sake,
you
just write it out and by the way. No need for an awkward dinner, let's all take a breath.
I'd rather
Nothing
die.
I love more than a reunion after death.
Except my wife.
Except my life.
My little outburst has put everyone on edge.
No
Let's
shit.
drink to what's apparently your honeymoon instead.
Don't eat the food.
Ah, what the hell?
Put down your drink.
It was going so
That's
well.
how I got stuck here by eating pomegranates. The food is there. This was a trick just to ensnare.
My God, that's slick.
And if you eat it, then from mortal life you're banished.
Wonderful time, Persephone. Great timing.
How could you do this?
So can it cry, baby? You know what? No one's drinking all this wine. I don't mind if I do myself. Arriba, abajo, al centro. Let's go.
I came all
Moses,
the way to
ruins all my fun.
I came all the way to heaven. So excuse me, my dear, for the happiness I give.
Righteousness,
Reunion after death. Arriba, abajo, al centro, pa' dentro.
Hey guys, I'm really excited to introduce you to a friend of ours. It is Jake Lloyd.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hello, Jake. Just looking at you gives me daddy issues. Can you tell me why?
It's probably because I ooze daddy issues, and you would be surprised at how many other people also ooze daddy issues, as well as many other issues. In fact, you ooze a little bit of daddy issues, Sarah.
A little.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gushing daddy
Yeah.
issues.
I know that because you were on an episode of my podcast, Elaborate, in which you sort of delved into your incredible relationship with your father. And we talked about PTSD. We talked about his insane background as a comedian in LA. It was really quite a fascinating conversation. And that's one of the great things about my podcast is I get to sit down with people that I know and learn even more about them. It's not therapy, but it's not therapy.
Okay, where do we find this thing?
You find it at elaboratepod.com or iTunes, Stitcher, wherever podcasts are found.
Dragon Wagon.